All right, so ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Avinash Gupta, Managing Director and CEO India for Dun& Bradstreet, is actually a bit unwell today and hence he could not be with us in person. But we have a video message from him. So can we have Mr. Avinash Gupta's video on the screen, please?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me begin with a very interesting quote by Arvind Shankaran. Arvind is a senior advisor at McKinsey's Asia's banking practice. He said, "We are witnessing the creative destruction of financial services, rearranging itself around the consumer. Who does this in the most relevant, exciting way, using one data and second digital, will win the game." So today, when we look at the current dynamic realm of BFSI and fintech, we all know that the only constant is change. There is clearly a legacy of banks and NBFCs which have been built over a very long and successful period of the country's growth. Fintechs have made their presence felt, but it's still a long way for them to create the legacy. The game-changing environment would be when both BFSI ecosystem and fintechs work as one to embrace and create a transformation. When we speak of data, let me share some interesting facts about your and our industry. In FY23, the BFSI and fintech companies contributed to 6% of the country's GDP. During the same period, the consolidated balance sheet of scheduled commercial banks showed a double-digit expansion of approximately 12%. That's the highest in a very long time. All the 12 public sector banks together recorded 57% jump in net profit. During the same period, interestingly, NBFCs also witnessed double-digit expansion, 16% in fact, in loan advances. Aggregate income of NBFCs increased by 21.5% versus a much lower number the previous year. UPI, I do not need to talk about, everybody is aware of that. The net premium earned by life insurance companies also grew by 13%. On the fintech front, the sector kind of stood its ground. The universe grew to over 200 companies and attracted the most amount of startup capital. Clearly, all this information and digital insights are in our premier publication, India's leading BFSI and fintech companies 2024, which we will unveil in a short time. Let me spend the time today to talk about our theme, which is the game is changing. The Indian financial services industry is at a cusp of dramatic transformation. The business models are evolving and shifting customer dynamics are reshaping it. Fintech especially are driving the evolution of BFSI by pioneering digitally accessible and low-cost banking, payments, and lending solutions. There is a lot of banking happening truly without banks. Fintech NBFCs are gaining center ground in retail lending and insurtechs are revolutionizing the insurance industry. Clearly, the game is changing. It is important to know how the game changes, who the game changers are. And this summit is very focused on answering this. Let me dwell on some of the key ones. The first one is the regulatory sandboxes. Regulate authorities, including the Reserve Bank of India, are creating win-win environment to encourage innovation while developing allied regulations. The central bank has so far introduced cohorts for fintech to innovate around retail payments, cross-border payments, MSME lending, and mitigation of financial frauds. Last month, the RBI, the Reserve Bank of India, also released a draft framework for self-regulatory organizations focused on the fintech sector, which would work towards strengthening the governance standards of the sector. That really is very important first leg of the regulatory environment. Coming to the next game changer, which is the tech tsunami. A tech tsunami clearly is flooding the industry with waves of artificial intelligence, machine learning, chatbots, blockchain, digital currency, and cloud computing. According to India AI, the market for AI in the BFSI sector was worth over USD 15 billion in 2021 and is expected to expand over 35% CAGR over the next 6-7 years. These are empowering the BFSI and fintech players to catapult their operational efficiencies and customer experience. Interestingly, we received some interesting use cases when we called for nominations for this award at the end of this summit. These were evaluated and the best will be facilitated at our awards in some time. So I'll leave that suspense to the end. The next generational customer experience is another game changer which has gained significant entry into boardroom discussions. In simple words, it is the key facility to provide convenience, personalization, and flexibility to the new generation of customers. In fact, yesterday in our own business in Europe, for the first time, I noticed we hired a customer experience officer for the entire Europe. It just shows how that is becoming so important. The last two game changers include cybersecurity revolution, including BFSI models. On cybersecurity revolution, JP Morgan came out with the number, but did you know that, Indian financial sector faced more than 13 lakh cybersecurity attacks between January and October of last year? Some issues which were nascent, such as financial frauds, social engineering, and data breaches, have become rampant these days. Having said this, new age technologies have altered the risk and threat landscape for the BFSI and fintech industry. Last game changer in my list today is inclusive BFSI models. According to research reports, of the 64 million MSMEs operating in India today, only 14% have access to formal credit, which we all know. Inclusive BFSI models are changing the game by using unique models for assessing creditworthiness, offering easily accessible lending options. Again, there have been some great nominations in this regard, and again, maybe I'll best leave that to the end. Going back to what I quoted at the beginning, all the game changers we covered revolve around digital and data. The winners are those who leverage these in the most relevant way. In a while from now, you will see our award winners who are classic examples of the same. Before we move on, a little insight into what DNB is and what we do in this regard. Data with local expertise to help clients make smarter decisions. Allow me to take a couple of minutes to share how we empower our clients to make these decisions. Our expansive coverage of data on business entities with millions of entities across India helps our customers gain an overall perspective of the business landscape, industry overview, and entity level 360-degree view of the past and current status. DNB also provides holistic services like portfolio monitoring, early warning signals, and can also partner with the BFSI companies in the customer prospecting and onboarding journey as well. Our trusted solutions have been used by trade, credit, and forex departments for critical decisions for decades. According to this, DNB has the capability to manage and process dynamic consent-based data through credit decisioning systems, which has the ability to process flow data and share actionable insights on bank statement and GST data. As the pace of digital transformation has been accelerated and more BFSI companies are embracing digitalization, robotic process automation, and other big data analytic tools, DNB is also in a bid to keep abreast of these moves, enabled access to all this data through APIs, data blocks, credit decision system to help BFSI companies in their journey to rapid digitization. And finally, very important in today's world, DNB's ESG capabilities can allow modern banks to accelerate their net zero journey by choosing the right supply chain partners using our ESG scores. Our BFSI clients are testimonial to the fact that DNB has helped them move forward in the sustainable finance initiatives through our insights and modern platforms. I hope that was useful. On a closing note, I hope the insights by our esteemed speakers and panelists will help you drive your business goals. I thank you for being with us here today, and I apologize that I'm not here myself in person, and I'm sure you'll find our value in our commitment to the BFSI sector. Thank you.